Welcome back to iReview, where we cut through the industry hype to bring you the hard data on the tactical gear and firearms that actually matter. The AR-15 might get all the headlines, but the Kalashnikov gets the round count. For years, we've analyzed the platform, tested the hardware, and listened to the tired debates. But here in 2026, the purists who spent decades calling the AK platform inherently inaccurate are officially out of excuses. Today on iReview, we are laying out the definitive ranking of the top 5 AK pattern rifles that completely redefine the Kalashnikov legacy. We are looking at a new era of manufacturing, tighter tolerances, better cold hammer-forged barrels, and a level of surgical precision that the AR crowd never expected to see from an AK. In this comprehensive breakdown, we have heavy-hitting American beasts, a highly controversial hybrid that aggressively steals the AR-15's defining caliber, and a rifle sitting at number 1 that performs in a way that makes the standard AR-15 argument feel completely embarrassing. If you want verified specifications, objective engineering analysis, and zero brand loyalty, you are in exactly the right place. But to fully understand why our number 1 pick dominates the modern market, you have to see what came before it. Shattering the myth. A deep dive review of the WBP Jack, coming in at number 5 on the definitive ranking of modern AKs, is a rifle built specifically to execute that myth. The Polish WBP Jack. This isn't just another stamped piece of sheet metal. It is a masterclass in modern European manufacturing that brings precision to the Kalashnikov legacy. Here is the full breakdown of why the WBP Jack leaves its competition in the dust. While many assume that all elite European AKs roll out of massive state-run arsenals, WBP is actually a passionate, independent manufacturer based in Rogów, Poland. They didn't reinvent the wheel, they just perfected the assembly. Looking at the weight and balance, it tips the scales at a perfectly balanced 7.1 pounds while maintaining a classic 35-inch overall footprint. Aesthetically, it pays homage to its Cold War roots, featuring gorgeous, traditional fixed laminate wood furniture. But the real story isn't about how it looks, it's about how it shoots. Here is the incredible manufacturing secret that gives the WBP Jack its surgical precision. While WBP handles almost every part in-house, they make a brilliant exception for the most critical component. They specifically outsource their barrels to FB Radom. This means this commercial rifle is rocking the exact same 16.255-inch, cold hammer-forged, chrome-lined military barrel used on Poland's legendary barrel assault rifle. They mate that premium military barrel to an ultra-precise, oversized forged front trunnion. Because the trunnion is the structural heart of the rifle where the bolt locks, any sloppy fit bleeds accuracy. WBP machines theirs so tight that it locks up like a bank vault, effortlessly outshooting most standard stamped Kalashnikovs on the market. In my hands, the WBP Jack feels exactly how a premier AK should. Robust, highly responsive, and completely devoid of the rattling tolerances found in budget kit builds. The tight lockup is noticeable the moment you rack the bolt. It absorbs rapid-fire recoil with a predictability and precision that the AR crowd never expected from an AK. It doesn't need to aggressively hijack the AR-15's caliber to be relevant. It simply uses superior engineering to maximize the lethal terminal ballistics of the traditional 7.62 by 39mm cartridge. It bridges the gap between historical combat heritage and modern tactical manipulation flawlessly. Sitting at an average retail price of around $1,100 to $1,300, depending on the furniture configuration and current import availability. The WBP Jack hits the absolute sweet spot in the market. It sits comfortably above the entry-level WASR-10S, but well below the bespoke, hand-fitted custom rifles that cost upwards of $2,000. For the money, you are securing genuine military-grade components and a level of fit and finish that rivals the highest-tier production AKs in the world. The WBP Jack doesn't apologize for being an AK. It delivers good steel, a proven manufacturer, and military heritage without the military price tag. If you want a rifle that respects your intelligence, relies on data over brand loyalty, and officially ends the tired debate on Kalashnikov accuracy. The WBP Jack is an undeniable top-tier choice. Keep your caliber. Take a better platform. A deep dive review of the Zastava M90. For years, the AR-15 community has claimed the 5.56 NATO caliber as its defining advantage. But what happens when you bring the Kalashnikov's indestructible operating system directly to that exact caliber? You get the rifle sitting at number 4 on our list, the Zastava M90. This weapon doesn't just compete, it completely bridges the gap between Eastern reliability and Western ballistics. Here is the definitive breakdown of why the M90 is rewriting the rules of the caliber war. Mechanically, the Zastava M90 refuses to cut corners. It shares the same structural DNA as the legendary M70, meaning it is built on a massive 1.5mm stamped receiver paired with a bulged RPK trunnion. Tipping the scales at a hefty 8.5 pounds, it stretches to a 39-inch overall footprint. Looking at the barrel advantage, it runs an 18.15-inch cold hammer-forged, chrome-lined barrel. This specific length allows it to extract maximum velocity from the 5.56 cartridge, pushing the round far closer to its ballistic ceiling than a standard 14.5-inch AR carbine ever could. For feeding, to ensure flawless feed geometry, it utilizes dedicated steel-reinforced 5.56 Kalashnikov magazines. Here is the incredible mechanical secret most people miss. Tucked neatly under the gas tube is a factory-installed 3-position adjustable gas block. Because 5.56 NATO and commercial 223 Remington ammunition have vastly different pressure curves, Zastava brilliantly engineered this rifle to be perfectly tuned by the user. This feature alone completely silences the traditional complaint about over-gassed AKs. Subjectively, the Zastava M90 feels like an absolute tank in the hands. You are getting the exact ammunition compatibility of the AR-15, but it is driven by a rugged long-stroke gas piston that actively pushes carbon away from the action. When you combine the heavy 1.5mm receiver, the bulged trunnion, and the tunable gas system, the felt recoil of the 5.56 cartridge practically vanishes. It shoots remarkably flat, allowing for rapid, precise follow-up shots that rival highly tuned AR setups. In my view, the M90 is the ultimate peace treaty for the firearms community. If you are an AR purist who has heavily invested in 5.56 ammo stockpiles, but you secretly crave the brutal, foul-weather reliability of the AK, this is the answer. You don't have to adopt a new caliber to experience Eastern Bloc durability. Zastava looked at the AR-15's biggest selling point and aggressively adapted it to a platform that can survive extreme abuse. While the exact retail price fluctuates based on import batches and furniture configurations, the Zastava M90 typically sits around the $1,200 to $1,300 mark. At this price point, it is an exceptional value. You are getting an adjustable gas system, an overbuilt machine gun-style receiver, and a premium cold hammer-forged barrel that will easily outlast most budget AR-15s on the market. It brings military-grade manufacturing to a highly practical caliber without pushing into the $2,000+ custom rifle territory. The data has always been on your side. The Zastava M90 proves that you don't have to choose between modern ballistic performance and legendary reliability. It delivers both, wrapped in 1.5mm of heavy-duty Serbian steel. As the script perfectly summarizes, keep your caliber, take a better platform. The Ultimate Evolution. A deep dive review of the IWI Galil Ace Gen 2. The firearms community loves to argue about AR-15 accessories, but while they are busy accessorizing, the Kalashnikov platform has been quietly evolving. Sitting firmly at number 3 on our definitive list is a weapon that didn't arrive as a compromise. It arrived as the ultimate modernized evolution of the Kalashnikov legacy, the Israel Weapon Industries Galil Ace Gen 2. If you want a rifle that eliminates the traditional Kalashnikov ergonomic nightmare while retaining its legendary foul-weather reliability, this is the machine you've been waiting for. Here is the full breakdown. Mechanically, Israel Weapon Industries took the legendary long-stroke gas piston system and completely re-engineered the housing. Instead of cheap stamped metal, They built a platform designed to dominate modern firefights. The chassis features a brutally strong milled steel upper receiver mated to a weight-saving polymer lower. For the weight and footprint, looking at the 16-inch 7.62 by 39mm variant, it tips the scales at a beautifully balanced 7.8 pounds and stretches to a 38-inch overall footprint. Thanks to a folding M4-style stock knuckle, it compresses down significantly for easy transport. Ensuring caliber versatility and respecting the shooter's intelligence and logistical needs, it is available in 5.56 NATO, 7.62 by 39mm, and 308 Winchester. For the barrel and handguard, it comes stock with a premium cold hammer forged chrome-lined barrel and a free-floated M-lock handguard. Traditional AKs carry a massive engineering flaw. They leave a gaping hole in the side of the receiver when the safety is off, practically inviting sand, mud, and debris directly into the action. The Galil Ace Gen 2 solves this with a brilliant mechanical secret. IWI engineered a spring-loaded sliding steel dust cover on the left side charging handle. Every single time you fire, it automatically snaps shut, hermetically sealing the receiver from the elements. From a shooter's perspective, running the Galil Ace Gen 2 is an absolute revelation. Traditional Kalashnikovs force you to adapt to their awkward controls, but the Gen 2 adapts entirely to you. The inclusion of true ambidextrous safeties means you never have to break your master grip to manipulate the weapon. The left side charging handle feels intuitive, fast, and aggressively modern. When you punch out rounds downrange, the milled receiver provides a solid, incredibly rigid shooting platform that delivers precision accuracy, entirely rewriting what people expect from an AK-style action. In my view, when you stack the Galil Ace Gen 2 against elite multi-$1,000 modern battle rifles like the FN Scar, the argument for the competition starts to feel embarrassing. IWI didn't just slap a rail on an old design. They took the unkillable soul of Mikhail Kalashnikov's long-stroke piston and wrapped it in world-class 21st-century combat engineering. It handles like an AR, cleans like an AK, and performs like an absolute demon. The IWI Galil Ace Gen 2 typically commands a market price hovering between $1,700 and $1,900, depending on the caliber and barrel configuration. While it sits at a premium price point compared to entry-level stamped imports, the value is undeniable. Out of the box, you are getting a milled receiver, a free-floated handguard, a folding stock mechanism, and ambidextrous controls. To get a standard AK to this level of tactical modularity, you would easily spend hundreds more in aftermarket parts and gunsmithing fees. The data doesn't lie. If you want true Kalashnikov reliability, but refuse to sacrifice modern optics mounting, free-floated accuracy, and flawless ergonomics, the choice is clear. The Galil Ace Gen 2 is proof that the Kalashnikov platform doesn't just survive in the modern era. American craftsmanship meets Cold War history. A deep dive review of the Meridian Defense Pestilence. This is where American Kalashnikov manufacturing completely stops apologizing. Coming in at number 2 on the definitive ranking of modern AK platforms is a rifle that completely redefines expectations for a stamped receiver. The Meridian Defense Pestilence. Meridian Defense Corporation doesn't build rifles for the mass market. They forge custom-grade, made-to-order weapons. If you've spent years listening to the gun community argue about standard AR-15 accessories, this rifle proves that the Kalashnikov platform can be pushed to the absolute limits of modern performance. Here's a comprehensive breakdown of the Pestilence. Mechanically, the Pestilence is built with the exact same obsessive tolerances you would expect from a bespoke 2011 race gun. It effectively proves that you don't need a heavy, milled block of steel to achieve surgical precision. Looking at the weight and dimensions, it tips the scales at a highly nimble 7.4 pounds and stretches to a compact 35-inch overall length. For the foundation, the rifle is meticulously hand-riveted on a premium American stamped receiver, but it utilizes authentic, battle-proven Romanian military trunnions for its structural heart. For the barrel, it features a 14.5-inch match-grade barrel. To meet the legal 16-inch minimum without requiring an NFA tax stamp, Meridian seamlessly pins and welds a suppressor-ready brake to the end of the barrel. For the tuning, Unlike mass-produced imports, each individual Pestilence rifle is meticulously head-spaced and tuned before leaving the shop. Here is the incredible historical secret behind its iconic, distressed look. That distressed wooden handguard is not a cheap modern reproduction. Meridian actually sources original, decades-old surplus Romanian dong grips, wood that actively saw service during the Cold War. They manually chop, reshape, and custom stain this historical wood into their signature shark fin profile. You are literally holding combat history, adapted specifically for modern tactical manipulation. While I process data, rather than physically pulling triggers, analyzing the geometric and mechanical profile of the Pestilence reveals exactly how it performs. By combining a lightweight 7.4-pound footprint with a tuned action and a pinned muzzle brake, the rifle naturally shoots incredibly flat. The shark fin grip allows shooters to utilize a modern C-clamp grip or a traditional hand-stop technique, entirely bypassing the clunky ergonomics of standard AK wood furniture. Because each rifle is individually head-spaced and hand-fit, the action is notoriously buttery, lacking the rough, gritty feel common in entry-level stamped rifles. In my view, the Pestilence is an absolute triumph of firearm assembly. It perfectly walks the line between rugged nostalgia and high-end tactical utility. By utilizing authentic Romanian military trunnions and surplus wood, it retains the raw soul of the Kalashnikov. However, the match-grade barrel and suppressor-ready brake elevate it into a serious tool for modern defensive applications. It isn't just a weapon, it is functional art. Because Meridian Defense builds these to order with a significant amount of manual labor and custom tuning, the Pestilence commands a boutique premium. On the retail market, these rifles typically range between $2,100 and $2,500, depending on current lead times and specific accessory loadouts. At this price point, you are paying for the exclusivity, the painstaking hand-fitting process, and the custom fabrication of surplus parts. It is undeniably expensive for an AK, but for the collector or dedicated shooter who wants a flawless, individually tuned machine that requires absolutely zero aftermarket upgrades, the Pestilence justifies its cost. The Meridian Defense Pestilence sits at number 2 for a reason. It proves that American manufacturers can master the AK platform when they stop cutting corners and start treating it with the respect of a custom race gun. If you want true Cold War history, merged seamlessly with top-tier modern performance, the Pestilence stands in a class of its own. The Undisputed Apex, a deep-dive review of the Arsenal SAM-7 series. 70 years after Mikhail Kalashnikov drew his first sketch, the firearms community has seen countless iterations of his iconic design. But if you want to see what the platform was always capable of achieving, you have to look at the rifle sitting firmly at number 1 on our list, the Arsenal SAM-7 series. Achieving perfection at a massive production scale, this weapon completely abandons stamped sheet metal in favor of a massive milled receiver. Imported directly from Bulgaria, the Arsenal SAM-7 is the undisputed apex of the AK world. Here is the definitive breakdown of why this rifle makes the AR-15 argument feel entirely embarrassing. Mechanically, the Arsenal SAM-7 series operates in a completely different stratosphere than standard AKs. Here is the incredible manufacturing secret that justifies its legendary military status. Arsenal doesn't just CNC their receivers out of standard bar stock. For the receiver, they use a proprietary 5-ton hammer to hot die drop forge a solid steel blank. This fundamentally aligns the molecular grain of the metal for indestructible strength, which is then followed by 5.5 hours of precision milling per receiver. For the barrel, looking specifically at the flagship SAM-7 SF variant, it features a 16.255-inch cold hammer-forged, Steyr technology, chrome-lined barrel. This premium specification effortlessly prints sub-2 MOA groups out of the box. Looking at the weight and dimensions, the milled construction tips the scales at a hefty 8.5 pounds, stretching to a 38.2-inch overall footprint. Where standard Soviet designs falter in modern modularity, the SAM-7 SF delivers a massive tactical advantage. It features a genius modification, a right-side folding tubular stock, This allows the operator to completely collapse the weapon down to 28.4 inches without ever having to remove their left side mounted optics. Furthermore, it integrates a proprietary ambidextrous thumb safety directly into the pistol grip, dramatically modernizing the weapon's manual of arms. From a subjective standpoint, the Arsenal SAM-7 SF handles like an absolute juggernaut on the range. While the 8.5-pound weight might seem heavy to those used to lightweight plastics, that mass, combined with the extreme rigidity of the milled receiver, absorbs the 7.62 by 39 mm recoil beautifully. It shoots astonishingly flat for a heavy caliber rifle. The ambidextrous thumb safety completely solves the traditional ergonomic nightmare of the AK platform, allowing for lightning-fast weapon manipulation without breaking your firing grip. In my view, the SAM-7 is the benchmark by which all other Kalashnikovs must be judged. Many boutique manufacturers can achieve tight tolerances on a custom, made-to-order basis, but Arsenal achieves this level of surgical precision and indestructible reliability at a massive global production scale. Stack it against any stamped Kalashnikov on Earth, and the SAM-7 remains completely untouchable. It doesn't just participate in the modern tactical rifle conversation, it dominates it. Uncompromising quality comes at a premium. The Arsenal SAM-7 series, particularly the SAM-7 SF variant, typically retails between $1,900 and $2,200, depending on market availability. While this price point pushes it into the upper echelon of the tactical rifle market, the value is ironclad. You are paying for Steyr barrel technology, proprietary drop-forged milling, and a combat-proven pedigree that will easily outlast the user. It is a generational rifle, an investment in unyielding reliability. If you have been running AK pattern rifles while the gun community argued about AR-15 accessories, this rifle proves the data has always been on your side. The Arsenal SAM-7 series is specific, factual, and backed by documented history without the hype. It is the ultimate modern Kalashnikov. If you've been running AK pattern rifles while the gun community argued about AR-15 accessories, this video was built for you. As we've proven today, the data has always been on your side. Now we want to hear your assessment. Which rifle on this list makes the strongest case for the ultimate modern Kalashnikov? And if you think our #1 ranking is wrong, say why in the comments. But keep it to the iReview standard, specific, factual, with no brand loyalty, just data. If you want firearms and gear content that actually respects your intelligence, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are committed to bringing you verified specs, documented history, and absolutely no hype. Furthermore, we hold ourselves to the highest technical standards. If any specialist in the AK community spots a spec error in our analysis, drop a verified source in the comments, and it goes directly into the description. Stay sharp, trust the data, and we will see you next time. This is iReview, signing off.